Welcome to the Your Limitless Leadership Podcast with Jenny and Brent Widman. Here, we believe leadership isn't just about titles. It's about how you show up in every aspect of life. Whether you're leading a business, building a legacy as an entrepreneur, guiding your family, or striving to lead yourself first, this podcast is for you. Join us as we dive into real conversations about growth, decision-making, and the courage it takes to lead with purpose. Get ready to be inspired, challenged, and equipped to become the limitless leader you are meant to be. This is Your Limitless Leadership Podcast. Let's lead without limits. All right, here we go. Today, we have Jenny Widman, CEO of Your Limitless Coach, with us this morning. I'm going to go through your background, if that's all right. Just a little introduction of who you are, where you came from, and then we'll roll into it. But so Jenny, this is where you get to be awkward a little bit, just so you know, as CEO and co-founder of Your Limitless Coach, a multi-time eight-figure entrepreneur and a globally recognized authority on unlocking human potential. With decades of experience in sales, leadership, and personal development, Jenny has inspired millions as a speaker, coach, and leader to top 1% leaders worldwide. Jenny's career began with door-to-door book sales. I can't wait to hear about that. During college, where she developed an unshakable resilience, mastered interpersonal communication, and built a foundation for leadership. Leading multiple top-ranked teams, she helped hundreds of ambitious salespeople cultivate competence, consistency, and the skills to achieve top-tier results. Her efforts consistently placed her in the top 5% of sales performance and earned her numerous recruiting accolades. You can see she has the background and ability to do the things that she should be doing and the things we're going to talk about here. As a sought-after coach and speaker, Jenny has worked with Fortune 500 executives, C-suite leaders, chairmen, managing partners, entrepreneurs, providing transformational strategies to unlock their potential, and a true practitioner first of her teachings. Jenny's attributes her personal growth and success through her ongoing work with her own mentors and coaches, people that have actually touched her life. She resides in Minnesota with her husband, Brent, their son, Hudson, and her bonus children, Elle and Jack. She's a passionate adventurer, fitness enthusiast, endurance athlete. Get this, folks, she has run 25 marathons and half marathons in 25 different states with the goal of doing 50 by 50. And if I know anything about her, she will do it. All right, here's where we're going to start. I would love to know about you. How did you get to where you are? Your background, we touched on it a little bit, but even the book sales, what have you, but just kind of give me the state of the Jenny, how you got to where you are today.
Well, thank you, Brent, and thanks for having me as the first guest here on Your Limitless Leadership. I appreciate it. Background. Yeah, I mean, I'd say what shapes me to who I am today is how I grew up. My parents are from England, and I have an older brother, Chris, who's 5 years older, and they moved to America to give my brother and I a better life. And they moved over with nothing. We lived in a Red Roof Inn for, I was born obviously in the hospital, but for the first 6 to 8 months of my life, I lived in a Red Roof Inn until they got a house. And my dad got a sales job in Connecticut, and they came with nothing, and so I lived, from Connecticut, Massachusetts to Wisconsin to Ohio to Washington State to Philly, all before 4th grade. And it was just moving around for my dad's sales jobs, whether promotion or they sized down and he had to get a different gig. But every day I saw him work so hard to just provide for my family. And my mom was the caretaker. Drive does everywhere. Drive does to all of our stuff. And my dad would travel all the time just to provide. And then I lived in Philly. Most of my, I say I'm from Philly because that's just loaded. And I lived in Philly from 4th grade to 11th grade. Eagles fan, woo. And that's where I feel like I got most of my attitude or, my competitiveness. Played sports my whole life, traveled for field hockey, played field hockey year round. And, varsity as a freshman, and it was my life. I just poured myself into sports and very competitive. I do not like to lose. And then from there, I just knew I've always wanted to be in sales ever since I was 5 years old. I remember my dad, one day I just saw like what he did. I admire him so much. He's such a role model for me. And he was like, if you want to be successful in business one day, we got to teach you how to swing a golf club. And he taught me golf at an early age. And I just always wanted to be in sales. I didn't know what type of sales. I just knew I wanted to be in sales. So I did Girl Scouts and brownies and went door to door selling cookies and all the things I remember from a young girl. And I moved down to Florida when I was a senior in high school with my best friend, Rachel, and her family. And we did our senior year in Florida. It was, I didn't want to do field hockey in college, so we moved down for that in-state tuition for college and did a year together. We had the time of our life in Sarasota there. Englewood is what it was called. Then we went to UCF, and the rest of the story is got into waitressing, bartending, realized that the harder I work, the more I get paid. It taught me a lot about sales in general and upselling and being nice to people, caring about them. I'm a firm believer that you need to always tip 20%. And if you can't tip, then don't go out for dinner. It just really annoyed me for how hard, they work and we work when you do that. And then I got into Allstate. I was in marketing for Allstate for 3 years in college. And, I say marketing, I basically just did like mailers and introduced myself to car dealerships and, just helped our agency. And then what changed my life is one day my best friend Stephanie, my best friend from college and my senior year, and I went out for dinner at a Mexican restaurant. We were on our second 32-ounce margarita, and I was just talking about how I wanted to do sales, medical sales, any type of sales after college, and I just didn't know what type of sales. And I was talking loud because I guess when I'm drinking too, I talk louder. And this girl, Megan, approached my dinner table and told me, I don't know if this is for you or not, but I would absolutely love for you to check it out. Come to this hotel tomorrow at 11 a.m. and I want to tell you what I did for my summertime. And I made $22,000. And it was the best way to get my foot in the door in sales. And if you want to be in sales, you need to do this. She put her number on a napkin, and I put that napkin in my purse, and I had a great night with Stephanie. We went out, we did our college thing. And the next morning I woke up not at my best self. I totally forgot about that conversation, but I went into my purse and I saw this napkin and it said 11 a.m. It had the location and her phone number. It said Megan. And I was like, what was that? And I didn't remember what she said. All I remember was she was extremely good looking and so confident. And I was like, whatever she has, I want. And so I was like, I'm just going to go check it out. And I went the next day, I checked it out. And the internship, it was a college internship where we went door to door selling books. And they were leaving in 2 weeks. And I remember I had to tell my dad and my mom, and I didn't know much about it. And my mom thought I was crazy. She's like, you're going to Nashville. You're going to some unknown state. You're going to go work 80 hours. You're going to knock on doors. Are you crazy? Like, you're not doing that. That's the most insane thing I've ever heard. And my dad was like, well, is it safe? He had all the safety questions and all that type of stuff. And Megan had to talk to them, I remember. And I was just so dead set on it. I was like, I'm going. And did my first summer. I did 6 summers after that. Did very well my first summer. I think I made like 26,000. And it was 3 months, 12 weeks long. And then came back, recruited teams, always was top recruiter in the company. And then from there, just realized I love sales. And from the last decade, I've done one-on-one coaching, speaking, keynotes, and I love what I do. It's so much fun. But I'd say that's shaped me to where I am today.
You don't hear a lot that people love sales or they grow up wanting to be like, you might be the first person I've ever heard say that in the history of life. Where do you think that comes from? Like, what's the mentality behind that?
I'm a people person. Like, I love being with people. I love getting to know them and their tics and their story, where they came from. And I've always kind of attributed my dad's outgoing personality and him being in sales and seeing the life it provided for my family and I, and the opportunity. I grew up very blessed. Like I just felt very fortunate, and I'm good at it. So, and I'm competitive. It's like, it kind of fits all the ticks that get me going.
I love the confidence when you can say, because I'm good at it, where it's like a humble, when you know you're good at something, you know you're good at something, and it's okay to say that. And it feels like that's where many people struggle with because they want to be nice or laid back or whatever it is. And myself, I've struggled with that. And to watch you just own it, and I think that's what it is you just own it. It's who you are and what you do. How did selling books door to door 80 hours shape you into what you are now? Because obviously, world renowned speaker, executive, elite level coach, working with some of the premier people in different industries across the board, whether it's financial, CEOs, what have you. How did that shape you into that? Because you made a leap right into that.
Mm-hmm. Gosh, if anyone's out there listening and you've been door to door, I commend you. It's freaking hard. And I love door to door people. I mean, if anybody comes to my door, I am letting them in, giving them food, giving them drinks, letting them use the restroom, hopefully buying if I can, meaning I don't have the service already or whatever the situation is. But how can you not, going door to door, learn so much? I almost quit. I remember the very first day, and I was there in my white car. I had my backpack on, and it took me an hour just to get out of the door, just to get enough courage to go knock on a door in the middle of nowhere, West Virginia, and not knowing what was on the other side. There was multicolored play toys outside, so I knew they had kids. I knew it was a house, like kids central. That sounds so creepy. But I knew they had them, and I just couldn't get courage enough to go. And I finally did, and I knocked, and no one was home. And I was like, oh, well, that wasn't that hard. And so then I just did the next one, the next one, the next one. But I remember the first day, it was like 3:00 in the afternoon, and I was crying. I was sitting on zero, and I was just distraught. I was like, how could I not even sell one of these things? Like, what is going on? How can I not help somebody? How, like, why are people slamming the doors in my face, saying no to me? Like, we have such a good product. I believed in what I did. I just didn't understand. I remember calling my dad and I was crying. And my dad said to me, get back in your car, go to the next house. You committed to this and you're not coming home until the end of the summer. So you have to figure it out. And I was like, okay, there is no plan B here. I got to go to the next house and that's it. And so I went to the next house and the next house and the next house. And that first day I sold 3 people. And the average is that you would sell 2 to 3 a day if you saw the 30 families. And I was just like, all right, I got this. This isn't too bad. And then week 3, I had another meltdown and I knew not to call my dad. I called my mom and my mom let me cry and just was my cheerleader and encouraged me. And then I kept going. And then I was top 6 in that first summer. But, you learn resilience. You learn keep going. You learn don't give up. You meet amazing people. You change their life. You give them hope for their education. I remember sitting down with like a 6th grader one summer, and he was just not excited about anything like in life. And I just remember spending 20 minutes with him and having a conversation and telling him how cool college was. And I got a message from his mom like 5 years later on my Facebook Messenger, just saying, I want you to know the conversation you had with my son really changed him. And it's like little things like that throughout the summer just teach you so much about perspective and how life is happening to all of us every day. And it's not easy. It's hard. And it can be hard. And we can't go through it alone. And so the reason why I love what I do today is kind of like my dad's phone call that very first day out in the book field. Like if I didn't have my dad to call me out on my BS and tell me I can do it and not let me quit on myself, like I would have quit. And sometimes we just need that encouragement. We just need that voice. And that's, looking back on it, that's what I get to do for people now. But the book field, it teaches you. I always used to say, to get me through some of the harder days, the thing that I would do is I wasn't like there to see 30 families or sell books or make money. There were certain days that didn't work for me. And so I would go into the day and I'd be like, all right, I'm just going to meet these people and see what type of life I want when I'm older. And so I would be invited into these houses, and there were some houses that were full of love and education was important, and you could tell family really mattered, and the man and wife had an amazing relationship, and the kids were well behaved and amazing kids. And I would say to myself, this is the type of family I want when I'm older. And then there were some houses where, you could tell education wasn't important. You could tell that the man and woman were not in love. You could tell the kids did not care about anything. Like, and you could see certain things, or even in the house, like, oh, I want a kitchen like this one day, or, oh, this could look good, So it just kind of let you into people's lives and homes to like vision what your life is going to be. And so that was fun for me. I feel like, anyway, there are times in your life that you need to just find different things to get you through, because one thing won't work for you all the time. There were days I just had to see how many trampolines I could jump on. And, I had a competition with someone on how many trampolines I could jump on, just so I could go knock on the next door. And so, whole point being, those are little games with myself I had to create to make it fun, to make it different, to then, I take those lessons I learned to today and what helps me get to make the next phone call and talk to the next person. And I feel like there's so many life lessons that you learn selling door to door. I always say I got my master's at life selling books.
I want to touch on a couple things you said and then fast forward it, but just your dad saying you're not coming home. It feels like so many parents, especially if they have their blonde-haired, blue-eyed girl out in the middle of West Virginia telling them they want to come home, most dads would be, come on home instead of, And the fact you said there's no plan B, you didn't give yourself that. And that's, correct me if I'm wrong, do you feel like that's where most or a lot of people struggle is, well, if this doesn't work out, I'll just take a different job or I'll go somewhere else, instead of the commitment, the resilience, the courage, the keep going, the don't give up, all those phrases that you used. I sit here and listen to you, and it's crazy that you have this interesting dynamic of, especially, and that's what I mean by fast forward to where you're at now. You took all of those principles and all those things you learned and all those things you did, and now you look at them, you're not only using them for yourself, correct me if I'm wrong here, you're using them for yourself on a day-to-day basis, but you also get to use them with clients, people you coach, people you train, develop, speak to, and help out. Tell me about that a little bit.
Yeah. The number one thing, and it must, I'm kind of reflecting here as I'm doing it with you, but I cannot stand when people use weak language. I cannot stand when someone says, oh, I'll try that, or maybe I'll do that, or, quits on themselves early. Like it's a trigger for me. And maybe that's because I was taught growing up to always give your best, to always try your best, to never give up on yourself. And if you commit to something, you're following through and you're doing it. And so, I use that with clients. And, if someone tells me like, oh yeah, Jenny, I'll try to get that to you by Friday, my first response is, if you cannot get it to me by Friday, tell me that. If you are, do it. But if you need till Monday, that's okay. Give it to me on Monday. It's okay. But have integrity, if you're going to do something, do it or don't do it. Meet me or don't meet me. Come to my time or don't come to my time. But it does really frustrate me. And so one of the things that from a very early, even in sports, it's fueled me for sure. And I'd say that that's one of the things for coaching that my clients will tell you that I'm hard on, and it means a lot to me. It means a lot. If you're going to do something, do it.
I love that. Don't be flaky, right? It's just you've committed. Commit. It's really that simple. It's yes or no, and you're not. I got to think if somebody tells you no, they're probably not going to hurt your feelings. You'd rather hear that than maybe, I would venture to say.
Well, at the end of the day, we either have to lower your goal or do what you say you're going to do. And so if the goal's not that important to you, it's not that important to you. But if you want to get there, and I know you can get there, there's little milestones along the way that have to be checked.
Oh, I love it. You're not normal, correct? Like, you do not live in a normal world. Just the way you talk about things and say things, and the nonchalant way that you just conduct yourself. That's not normal, don't you?
I feel like it is, but
because you're in it. You're in it every day, and you just see it. You do it, and I have to feel that's why you've had so much impact on so many people across the course of your life, which I guess there's a question. You talked about your dad, you talked about Megan, you talked about people like that. Is there anybody that stands out to you other than that has impacted you or has had a big impact on you? Maybe not the biggest. It could be any type of impact on you, and why?
Oh, there's so many. There's so many people. I mean, Megan for sure, just because of, she's someone in my life that I feel like I can call right now and she would drop everything she's doing
Mm.
and talk to me. She's just someone that is loyal and a role model, really, like a true role model. And then another person is AJ Vaden.
Mm.
When I first got into consulting, I remember looking at her and saying the same comments I said about Megan, like, I want what she has. I want the grace. I want the poise. I want the professionalism. She just conducts herself amazing. She has a amazing marriage, hard worker, gorgeous, all the things, but just someone I truly admire and look up to.
Mm.
And I love powerful women that just know who they are, know what they want, step into it, and perform.
That leads me into something else because you didn't touch on this, but being your husband, I know this because I'm lucky enough to be with you. Tell me about your health and fitness journey for the last 7 to 8 months, because you have literally changed your life, your
Mhm.
body. It's impacted me. It's impacted the kids. It's impacted so many people around you. Where were you at? What ultimately helped you make that choice? How did all this come about? And then
Yeah.
where are you?
This is a vulnerable topic. First time I'm going to choke up, I guess. We have a amazing almost 4-year-old son, Hudson. And he's my little world. Here he is, little cutie. But before I had Hudson, I took care of myself. I've ran half marathons. I was working out all the time. Trainers, I lived in Manhattan, got 20,000 steps every day. And I had HUD and went to shit pretty much. I mean, I don't know how else to describe it, but your body as a female just changes and you crave certain things. You're exhausted. When the baby's sleeping, you're sleeping. It just takes so much out of you. And I got into this habit of being okay with it. Being okay with, I would still run. I was running 4 or 5 days a week, but I was eating. I got up to 60 pounds, 214 pounds was my heaviest. And I held my weight well. I didn't feel like I looked 214 pounds, but the scale said it. And looking back on pictures, I was big. But one day, my friend Kaya, she posted pictures of herself looking real good. And I was like, what is she doing? And she told me that she got a coach, Pamela and Jamie, 2 coaches. And she's like, if you want, you should look into it if you want to lose weight. And I was at that stage where I wasn't feeling confident in my clothes anymore. I knew I had gotten bigger. I was speaking at conferences. I was giving keynotes. And I had to go get more different dresses because my dresses weren't fitting on me. And I was just kind of frustrated with how I was feeling, even when I was running. Like, we did a half marathon in April in North Dakota. And it wasn't my slowest time ever, but I was dying after it. Like, I was just exhausted. And I was like, I just don't want to feel like this anymore. I was sick like every month, just tired all the time. And I said to myself, I need to do something. And I'm ready. Like, I wasn't ready before. It took me 3 years to be ready. And you know what? That's okay. I'm okay with it. And I'm happy because it's my story now. And, Brent and I went on a trip to Portugal. It was an incentive trip. And I just told myself I'm going to go all out in Portugal. I'm not going to worry about anything. I'm going to eat what I want, drink what I want. And the day I get back on May 6th, I'm starting. And I asked Brent, it was not cheap to start. And he was like, if you're ready and you want to do it, do it. No amount of money is going to do it. And so I started on May 6th, and as of yesterday, I was 48 pounds, 48.2 pounds off.
Wow.
And it's been a journey, but I've never felt better. I'm like, when you're just taking care of yourself, you're eating the amount of protein you need, you're drinking all of the water and electrolytes, salt, all the things, your magnesium, all the vitamins that you need in your body. Like, it's the best sleep. It's the best. You feel high on life. You really do. And when I'm sick, I can count one time I've been sick since May, like literally one time. And so it's just changed my life. I'm happier. I'm just a happier person. And I'm happy I can give that to my husband and my kids. And you go to who do I admire? I admire you, Brent. Like, this guy, he is a fitness god. And he has like a 20-pack. Last year he made a goal that he was going to work out every single day. And he was sick a couple of times last year, and he accomplished it. Every single day he went out there in -9-degree weather and ran 4 miles, and he just doesn't make excuses for it. And another girl I admire who's a role model is my neighbor, Shayla. I mean, she is so committed to CrossFit. She goes all the time. She's so healthy. It's just the people like Brent and Shayla that don't make excuses, that do it no matter what, that know you're going to be better because of it. I never regret an early morning workout. I don't ever want to do them usually. I usually never want to get up, but I never regret getting up. I never regret doing it. And so it makes you so much better.
I love what you just said about don't regret early morning workouts, because I go back to what you were and what you said about the past and being sick and what have you. Just the times that you would allow yourself to sleep in or didn't feel good or what have you. And you don't do that anymore. You've taken all the things that you talked about, selling books and being a coach and consulting and all these different things in business. And I have seen you literally transform them, that you had them in the past, got away from it and said, not anymore. That's not who I am. And transformed it. And you don't take days off. You don't miss it. You don't not do it because you're tired or don't feel that bad or that's just not who you are anymore. And that's, at the least, you talk to, that's inspiring to me. It really is. I don't know if you know this or how it impacts the people around you, but like you look at one of your good friends that is bought into Pamela and Jamie, it impacts me because I know if I don't get up, you're going to hold it not against me, but to me, right? Like, that's not you. And you look at the kids going out for walks and things like that, the ripple effect, whether it's cold out, whether it's hot out, doesn't matter. We all do it together, but that impacts our family, and it shows them that you can do it when you're tired or worn out or don't feel like it, or that's the kind of impact that you give to people. And maybe you don't see that, but you do. And it's truly impressive who you are as a person and what you have done. Any last thoughts that you want to share at all, or anything that you want to say to somebody or just say to everybody as we finish up here?
Yeah, I do have a last thought, but I do love that you just said about the family because, you know, and the impact. Our daughter, got a watch for Christmas, but in the past year or since I've been doing it since May, she wants to get 10,000 steps every day. She goes on all the walks with me when it's not like -9 or, she knows that there's no ifs, ands, or buts. We're getting 10,000. And even Hud at 3 years old, Mom, I want to go get steps. Let's go get steps. It's their language. They're knowing that health is important. They're knowing that mommy cares about it and daddy. And that's huge. And then you see the ripple effect of my good friends like Christy and others that when my one friend Danielle, she's doing 10,000 steps every day. She hasn't missed in months. And we do our walks together and we talk on the phone for 10 minutes just to catch up and things like that. And I listen to books on my walks. Like, it's just so amazing. I can go on that forever, but it impacts your work. It impacts your friends. It impacts your relationships. It impacts your family, your fitness, how you feel. Like, you don't realize how much a ripple effect can actually have until you start. And it's huge. It really is. And it's amazing. It's absolutely amazing.
When you look at business wise, who are the people that are listening to this and are impacted by this and need some Jenny in their world? Let's call it what it is. Who are the people that you love to work with, you typically work with? Who is your, let's call it wheelhouse, that you really help out?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's someone ready. It's someone that is already doing great. Like, they're already amazing at what they do. And they're humble enough to know that they haven't arrived, that we're never going to officially arrive, that there is that next level that they can get to because there's this unused energy inside them that they know they can untap. And they just need a little bit of push to get there. And someone that, it sounds so cliche saying the word coachable, but literally doesn't come into the calls being like, what are you going to teach me today? It's like someone that wants a sounding board, a fresh voice, and to not buy into their own excuses. I mean, we all make them, and there are times I do. I mean, it's human nature. But just like my dad did for me back then, it's like, who is that person that is going to just push you a little more or harder or get you to that number one spot or stay at that number one spot, as a leader. So
these are your leaders, your top level producers.
Mm-hmm. I mean, leaders the most. My favorite thing is hiring, recruiting, retaining, building, knowing how to work with your leaders, the leaders of leaders. And that's who.
Just want to say thank you again for being on here, because that's your journey and your story and the things that you've gone through and the way you've let family impact you and tell you. Most people don't let their dads just tell them what I love it. And then into kids and reshaping your life and who you are as a person. Like, you impact a lot of people. So I want to say wholeheartedly thank you for coming on here and doing this, because this, I do think when people listen to this, they will know that they can put it that way. So, yeah. Yeah.
And I'll leave you with this, and I'm a firm believer in it, but we can't do life alone. I don't want you to do life alone. And oftentimes, as I've learned, rising up in ranks and getting to the top, it gets lonely at the top. It really does. You don't want to puke down. You don't want to tell people beneath you what you're struggling with. And we're going to have those days that we struggle. And I just want to ask you, like, who are you letting in? Who are people that you can go to for support? It doesn't have to be me or Brent. Like, you need to find a voice that speaks to you. And when you know, you know. When I spoke to Pamela, I knew she was my girl. When I met Jamie, I knew she could call me out. And you'll just know. You'll just know. And so, I encourage you, just don't do this life alone. Like, we all need that push. There's potential in all of us, and we just need to unlock it.
I love it. You can find Mrs. Jenny Widman on Instagram, LinkedIn, Facebook, Your Limitless Coach. You can find her all over. Reach out to her. You know you need help and you know you want to. Sometimes you just need to walk up and take the leap. But thank you for listening to this. Again, Your Limitless Leadership, Brent and Jenny Widman. Thanks for being on. Thanks for joining us on the Your Limitless Leadership Podcast with Jenny and Brent Widman. We hope today's conversation inspired you to think differently about leadership, not just in your career, but in every part of your life. Remember, leadership starts with leading yourself first. It's about taking action, making bold decisions, and showing up with purpose. Now, it's time to take what you've heard today and put it into practice. Whether it's in your business, your community, your family, or your own personal growth, start leading without limits. You have the power to become the leader you're meant to be. Until next time, keep pushing your boundaries and leading with purpose.